Good morning, everybody. My name is David Skyers. I am the Director of Enterprise Applications at SOAS. I've worked in higher education for over 20 years. I've spent the last 3 years at the School of Oriental and African Studies and over 19 years at UCL. Now, today is meant to be fun. Certainly this session, it's going to be a bit experimental, so bear with us. Now, we've got 3 entrepreneurs and 3 dragons who's going to be sitting on the panel. So, let me get the clicker. So, this is the first UCISA's Dragon's Den session. Hopefully it won't be the last one. Now, does anybody here believe that shared services could be a way to solve some of our future problems in higher education? Hands? Okay. So it's the job of these entrepreneurs to convince you to invest your money into one of these services. So Deborah's been really busy throughout this conference, and she's developed a meme coin. Now, all of you, after the end of this session, will use that meme coin to choose which idea you would like to invest in, okay? Now, let me introduce the dragons. The first dragon coming up, she's been compared to Deborah Meaden. She's known as the Iron Lady within SOAS, but I can tell you her head will not turn unless it's a great idea. So first up, Claire Lenario.
Thank you, David.
Just a quick one, Claire. What are you looking for from some of these ideas?
I'm not just going to be focusing on the numbers, actually. What I'm looking for is how you're going to manage the change piece, the change culture. How are you going to get staff, students, and those affected on board? Wonderful.
Okay, next up, representing Scottish fiscal prudence, UCISA's answer to Duncan Bannatyne, David Telford.
I'm out.
And David, what are you looking for?
I think it's that opportunity for us to find a way. I noticed quite a large number of hands going up when everybody said, you know, are we interested in shared services as a way forward? Everybody says that, and we haven't done it yet, and we've been talking about it for years. So I'm looking for the solution that actually brings us together and gives us that opportunity to say, yes, we've got something here that can make a difference and we can do it together.
Wonderful, thank you. Right, now finally, take Peter Jones, keep the ungainly height and the bad jokes, but remove the expensive suits. Adrian Ellison.
I should have worn a different suit this morning.
And Adrian, finally, what are you looking for?
So I think Claire and David have hit the nail on the head. We need something that's really going to work. So I guess I'm looking for that spark of imagination, that little bit of innovation that's just going to tip talk into action.
Wonderful, thank you. First up, our young budding entrepreneur, CIO Daniel Roberts.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Dan Roberts, and I'm looking for an investment in shared ownership of an audio-visual consultancy for design and architectural services. So this ticks 3 boxes when it comes to shared services. The first is an area of high value. Secondly, it's an area of high standardization. And thirdly, it's something you can package up and distribute in a way that will work for its owners. So a conservative estimate of all the institutions involved in UCISA would suggest we have between 30 to 50,000 teaching spaces. Now, if you consider that the investment in those spaces to fit them out would be on average, say, 30 to 40,000 pounds, and then you consider we have a 5 to 7 year refresh cycle on those rooms, you are looking at an annual investment of 300 to 350 million pounds across all of our members. That's a lot of money. And that is a conservative estimate, because I'm not taking into consideration some of the more advanced spaces, such as lecture theatres, innovative spaces, and I've not taken into consideration all of those meeting rooms that are spread out now that require hybrid facilities. So this is an area of high value. Now I look around at the CIOs, directors in this room, and I ask you, how are you providing assurance around scrutiny on design and architecture for that high level of investment? Are you confident that your usual design authority, your usual processes kick in and you are getting optimal value? Are you being led by the integrators? Do you suspect you're being led by the integrators, but you're not so sure? And they are famous for over-specifying, introducing that little bit of fat. Who is keeping an eye on that? Now, if it's some bloke called Ray, who 20 years ago was pushing around a TV, I suggest that that's not an appropriate level of scrutiny. Now, I'm being facetious for rhetorical purposes, and you're probably sitting there thinking, oh, I've got a great AV team. You don't. You have a great AV support team. That is a different skill set. That is around customer service, being proactive. That's about training. That is not the same as expert AV design services. It's valuable. I'm not, denigrating it. However, if you don't believe me, then when you get back to your institution, you ask, how many of you have got CTSD or CTSI? They are the industry-recognized standards for certification when it comes to AV design. And I suspect the answer will be a handful across our entire member base. So, how valuable to you would be an audiovisual consultancy service that you part own, that you can draw down hours from in order to do the appropriate level of scrutiny, not just on the design, but also for the integrators when they're setting out their quotes and their statement of work. Now, I've been involved in a lot of AV projects. When I worked for LSE, we refurbed our entire campus. And through good value engineering, we were able to remove something around 10% on pretty much every one of those £1 million plus installations. 10% of 300 to 350 million pounds that we all spend every year is a hell of a return on that investment that I'm asking for. Secondly, moving on to standardization, if you take the technology across those 30 to 50,000 teaching spaces, there will be a degree of variety, but broadly it will be within the same domain. You can take a number of experts and they will be able to cover the entirety of that technology stack. So what I'm asking for today is an investment in a jointly owned audiovisual consultancy that's going to save significant amounts of money through value engineering, will assure innovation through the appropriate level of architecture, but will maintain an excellent user experience. I open myself up to questions and comments.
Dragons, take it away.
Yeah, I want to ask what's going to happen to Ray.
Well, this is how you make your savings in some degree, but yeah.
He's a popular guy. He's been with the university for 25 years.
Well, he'll be
Everyone
doing
loves
AV
him.
support.
So we're going to move him into the support
This will be a
position.
cost-neutral exercise because
Okay.
the savings that they will provide will cover what will be a very small investment in this enterprise.
Okay.
So Darren, I like this idea. I've often thought that AV design, and forgive me if there are any of our vendors in the audience still for what I'm about to say, but money for old rope. Redoing consultancy, delivering plan over plan again, 2 days of project management, that we're just paying for. So I like this idea. But the biggest challenge I've found in getting AV consultancy and delivering projects is we all want to do them at the same time over the summer, and therefore you're having to book months and months and months in advance. So how's this shared service going to overcome that problem?
Well, I touched upon some of the core services we would start to offer, but there's no reason why we cannot coordinate a single supplier agreement for clusters of universities, and then we can bid for the implementation resources at the same time and get the scheduling and the phasing of that delivery to be a lot tighter than it currently is. You're always going to have a degree of clustering because of the nature of it, and that's an unresolvable issue. So there's a limit to how much we can deliver on that, but you're already going to get the return on your investment on the 5 to 10% of saving anyway. So you're not solving a problem, but you are reducing the costs involved in your implementation.
Dan, being Scottish, I'm quite keen that we save money. So I'm kind of with you on this idea. The challenge for me, though, is that, despite the capabilities of my colleagues that I'm sitting next to, we're special, Dan. I don't want to have the same kit and design that these people have. I want to be different and special and fantastic. So how do you accommodate our thinking in that shared approach to, what I would assume would be large-scale purchasing and a design team that basically goes around saying, well, we'll just put the same thing in here that we're putting in all these other places.
No, the design will be specific to yourself. You will draw down on a bank. For example, if we have 30 institutions invest £10,000, that will buy you 120 hours of design time. You can sit down with your requirements, you can map that out, and we can get the functional requirements out and designed. But then it's the back end, it's a non-functional. How do you deliver those functional requirements? That's when the integrator takes over and starts saying, oh, you need this, you need that, you need this. So all the behind-the-scenes stuff that you see locked away on that teaching desk, instead this service will ensure that that is efficient. The displays, all the interactive stuff, you don't want to compromise there because that's really important to your user experience. But it's all of that routing, all of that transmission of signal. That's where we can save the money. So there'll be no loss in terms of the bespoke nature of the user experience, but the conformity will be in the infrastructure.
Very persuasive, Dan. Very persuasive.
Oh. So how many institutions do you need to sort of kick this off and see whether we can make this work?
Well, I'm going for about 10K for 30 institutions to get about 120 hours. The minimum amount of investment you need would probably be about £300,000. But you can split that up any way you like. And obviously larger institutions will probably need more hours, smaller ones less, so there's a degree of sort of reselling those hours as well.
What does saturation look like for your model in terms of resourcing?
So it's a good question. I think if all 193 members signed up tomorrow, we may struggle, but this will scale. That's just a training exercise. That's about developing that expertise rather than having these more generalist technicians across all the institutions. You take all of the high-level expertise, centralize it, and they focus upon one aspect, which is kind of core to a really effective shared service in this kind of chunking model.
Okay, Dragons, you're either in or you're out.
I'm in, actually. I'm in.
I'm in. I think this is one that could work, actually. I'm in.
I can't have that. No. I'm out. No, I think it's a very persuasive argument, but I'm not convinced that you can actually give me that design focus that we need. I think if you want to take it forward, you might also want to think about what the ongoing service looks like. So how do we remote manage these collectively, and how do we together save money on Ray and others who are just there switching the rooms on and keeping the kit working. So if you add that in, I think we're onto something here, Dan.
I think I'll go with Claire, by the way, Adrian.
Thank you, Dan. Cheers. Okay, next up we have John Harris, Director of Products and Supplier Engagement at King's College. Welcome, John.
Good morning, everyone. I'm John, and I'm here to pitch a collaborative investment opportunity that could reshape how universities use AI. Right now, institutions across higher education are investing in AI chatbots, but they're doing it in isolation. That means higher costs, inconsistent student experiences, and duplicated effort. I'm looking for founding members to invest £50,000 each in a sector-wide AI chatbot consortium, one that ensures universities get an AI chatbot designed for higher education, led by higher education. So let's see what this could look like. Here's the vision in action. Should be. AI glitch here, over to the media team.
Many universities are investing in AI chatbots, but they're doing it in isolation. The result? Higher costs, inconsistent quality, and a lot of duplicated effort. That's where the Student AI Chatbot Consortium comes in. This is the Student AI Chatbot Consortium, a collaboration between higher education institutions, guided by UCISA, and delivered through a trusted supplier partnership to create a sector-wide AI chatbot. Universities define the requirements as a consortium. A dedicated product owner manages collaboration and delivery. Supplier partnerships provide the technology. UCISA offers sector-wide guidance and best practices. The result? A chatbot that learns across institutions, gets smarter over time, and delivers a consistent, high-quality student experience, without every university having to build and train their own system from scratch. Right now, universities are spending heavily on chatbot projects, many exceeding £200,000 per annum, with most of that going on setup, training and maintenance. And yet, it's thought that 80% of student queries are similar across institutions. Instead of training dozens of separate AI models, why not train one shared chatbot collectively and make it better for everyone? This is designed for all UK universities. The early adopters, 10 to 15 founding institutions, would shape the chatbot's initial training data. From there, it scales, improving as more institutions come on board. More universities means better AI, greater efficiency and lower costs across the sector. So why not just buy an off-the-shelf chatbot from a supplier? 3 reasons. First, AI solutions work best when they are shaped by those who use them daily. Higher education has unique needs that require a sector-wide approach, ensuring AI chatbots truly serve students and institutions. Second, universities need AI that aligns with their long-term priorities, not just a generic product roadmap. By collaborating through UCISA, we can work with partners to build a solution that's effective, scalable, and sustainable for higher education. And third, cost. Buying separately costs significantly more, while a shared service model allows bulk procurement, reducing costs per institution. By working through a supplier partnership with member-led governance, we get the best of both worlds. Advanced AI with sector-led ownership. This is how it comes together. A consortium of universities leads the development, ensuring higher education-specific needs remain at the centre. A dedicated product owner, funded by the members, manages collaboration, priorities, and ongoing development. A supplier partnership provides the AI platform and technology. UCISA offers sector-wide best practice guidance and alignment. Each university customizes its chatbot, while the AI keeps learning from shared insights. It's not just a product, it's an ongoing sector-wide collaboration. How is this funded? A consortium of participating universities co-invests between £500,000 to £750,000 to launch the chatbot. Each founding member contributes around £35,000 to £50,000 upfront to fund development. Costs are covered by a £30,000 annual fee or a flexible usage-based model. To maximise savings, the consortium will be structured as a cost-sharing group, ensuring universities do not pay VAT on shared supplier costs. With this model, universities could see a 50 to 70% reduction in chatbot costs compared to standalone solutions. Universities are already using AI chatbots, but we have a choice. This is a sector-led, supplier-enabled chatbot guided by USISA, cost-effective, scalable, and designed to serve universities first, in partnership with suppliers who understand higher education's unique needs. Imagine then a future where every university has access to the same powerful, intelligent support system. The choice is ours.
Over to you, Dragons. Any questions, please?
Do you want to go first?
Well, John, I've got a feeling I've just been pitched by AI.
The script was through me, but however, what you are seeing is the power of AI presentation. Would you believe
Power of
it
AI.
took less time to produce that than through PowerPoints, and I'm sure that all of the audience would say far more entertaining.
Well, they agree with you. They agree with you.
That's a very slick presentation. So let's get under the hood a little bit in terms of what I can expect from the service, because I get the sector-wide thing, and I think that's important. But you did say that that the best value is the people who use it. You get from is the people who use it every day. So how does it become particular to my institution and the challenges that we face? What support can I expect there to be able to deliver that?
Absolutely. So as all of these initiatives go, you're looking at the requirements, which, as I was illustrating in the presentation, are not quite as individual as we would expect. Almost 80% of student inquiries are actually like enabling the AI to be actually quite swiftly trained for the requirements of any HE institution, just requiring that connection into your data fabric to make it unique to the feedback that, say, your students or prospects would require.
Hi, John. I'm quite AI averse, actually, with my IT governance hat on. So I guess if we're looking at a shared model here, how are you going to protect my university's data, and how are you going to manage the sort of generative AI aspect and the learning? How do I protect that from your organisation? I would like to know a little bit more about how you're going to work on that.
Absolutely, and that is the value of the proposition, because as I was illustrating earlier, many are actually individually trying to create these products without any guardrails, without any controls, without the supplier and partners who have got the architecture and the services and maturity that could upscale from your own organisation to many, to ensure that we've got the separation and the permissions, but likewise the conformity and that approach to enable it to be within the guardrails, but growing effectively to yours and other needs.
John, I think this is a really nice idea, but I just don't think it's going to work. I think for AI to really add value through a chatbot to our own institutions, it's got to be unique. It's got to be tailored to the student community, the institution. I think it's a brilliant idea conceptually. I just don't think it'll actually work in practice. I'm afraid for that reason alone, I'm out.
Oh, Adrian, that's the thinking of yesterday, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I'm old school.
And that's why many of us are hemorrhaging cash, and that's why we haven't got people outside of the UK being able to come in to the UK higher education chatbot. Instead, it's going to be dispersed, expensive, and it's not going to be quality.
Yeah, that's why I can't afford a new suit.
But you would be able to afford this, but your universities are probably trying to do this several times over at even more cost.
Well, John, I'm in, because I think you're right on the money with what we need to do. I'm really impressed with your thinking around the guardrails and the structures that we need to put in place to protect our institutions. I trust you, Siza, of course, and I trust that we can collaborate together. So, unlike Adrian, I'm in on this one.
Thank you.
I'm doing the hokey cokey at the moment. I am trying to balance AI innovation with governance. So, and I'm slightly worried, like Adrian, on our USP. Are we going to be losing that? Is that going to be diluted through this chatbot? But what I'd like to do is I would like to perhaps come in at a later stage. I wouldn't be investing initially. I would like to have a view on this in a year's time.
And that's why I included that there would be an initial 10 partners, so that the folks like yourself could actually see just exactly what the benefits of that are, and become incredibly jealous with what other people are receiving and what is actually a national opportunity rather than something local and at expense.
Thank you very much, John. Now, John, I'm not a dragon, but I'm in, John. John, I'm in. There you go. I'm in. Right. Next up, we have Alma Shala, Associate Director of Digital Technologies from Goldsmiths. Please give her a round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alma, and I'm looking for investment on my idea for a shared integration services team across HE. The idea is to have a shared integration services team in HE who is specialized in integration specialists who will be designing, developing, as well as maintaining the continual service improvement of the integration services. This idea came as a result of my own personal journey, career journey. Therefore, I'm going to speak a little bit about me. Just in the spirit of accessibility, I'm a white female in my mid-40s, wearing gray outfit, the trousers and waistcoat and shirt. If you spot my accent and you wonder where I'm from, it's Albanian. And for those who are football lovers, there is a match this Friday between England and Albania that should be fun to watch. From a professional perspective, I've been working in public sector for 20 years. I worked in local government for 13 years, and in the last 7 years here in higher education, I joined Goldsmiths initially as a head of data management integrations, and I'm the Associate Director of Digital Technologies, looking after cloud infrastructure, collaboration integration, as well as digital product team. What I took back from the experience in the local government was my last role as the Office 365 program lead in the shared digital services across Triborough, Camden, Islington, and Haringey. What I took away from that experience was what didn't work well. And in fact, what didn't work well was the differences in politics between boroughs, different organizational cultures, and different values and ways of working. So I'm hoping in my presentation today, I will flip that around and give you a proposal that is actually more suitable for a success story. How will this work? So the idea is for the integration services team to work in your existing integration platform. That could be within your existing Boomi or Azure integration services, and they will work with your data. You own the data, but what that means is that they are familiar with the data. They know your data sets better. So they know the technology, they know your data. They also will be working with your product teams. The product teams are within the HE and I think my advice would be best to sit within that environment because they are close to the business. However, they will work closely with them, and they will know the technology that is in that area. This whole familiarity and awareness and similarity in technology as well creates some patterns that can actually shape standards, and standards that can actually form services, and one of them now being here, the integration services. So the key benefits for there is that it will remove the duplication of effort and across the whole HE. It will increase the efficiency in which these integrations are being delivered. We heard over the last 3 days that there has been so much, there is so much steer now in terms of financial aspect and making efficiency. At Goldsmiths University, where I have been in the last 7 years, the challenges that we have faced have been around the financial aspect. In the story that I was mentioning about my personal experience, we have, since I joined, initially there was no function for the integrations team. So I had to build the integration team from scratch, initially just 2 people, 1.8 FTE in fact. The team back then, 7 years ago, had already built 18 connections using Boomi, and that was mainly built using consultants and Boomi contractors. Since then, we've built around 30 more connections within our organization, and that's not only on Boomi. Some of them are being done in the actual Azure Logic apps. But what we have been struggling a lot is we've been struggling on sustaining the continued service improvement, but also meeting that explosion of demand that comes from new changes, new technology changes that are coming along, new projects that we still need to keep competitive and keep going with the integration. So how do we make this happen? My recommendation would be to start with a volunteer in HE lead and start very small, create a proof of concept initially. And with this, have some other volunteers, a minimum of 3 other higher education institutions who can jointly work and start working together on a center of excellence. In this area, the idea is to start working and capturing what are the main services within the integration space, looking at the 5 domain areas, such as staff, students, finance as a domain, as well as research and estates area. Looking across cutting all of these domain areas, what are the key services? For example, one common service is the identity access management, the onboarding of staff and students within the organization, as well as the access to the building. Some other process could be between the finance and the fees systems and so on. So these are all common processes that we use across the organization. So the team will come up with a service catalog of these services. They will publish this in the service, in the Center of Excellence. It could be a public website. And in there, they will also provide a process in which you will be able to view what is available off the shelf as packaged service that you can sign up for. The idea would be that once we have set that up initially as a proof of concept, we'll be reviewing where we are and look at if there is any other opportunity to grow further and expand to other HEs and see if anyone else wants to come on board. And through that process also, there will be an engagement, ongoing engagement with legal team, as well as other universities, and create that partnership collaboration effort. In terms of the return on investment, because we are removing, the aim for the integration services is to remove the duplication and speed in which the integration will be delivered. It will be much quicker. There is an estimation of 20 or 30 to 50% savings on the development costs. There will be a better, much better service delivery from the speed in which these integrations will be delivered, as well as there will be an estimated saving between just over 200K on development. In addition, there will be saving on maintenance costs. So I'm asking the Dragons today, hopefully to invest on my idea, but also I'm asking on the audience here today to vote on my idea. So thank you.
I'll go first. I'm really interested in this. I think this is something that we can all relate to in terms of our systems and processes across our universities. The one thing you haven't mentioned, though, and I'd like to get under the hood a little bit of, is with all due respect to our lovely vendors who are amazing support, but so many of them do not follow the standards or only partly follow the standards. So what are you going to do about that? It's great to build an integration team and a centre of expertise, but we've got the challenge of the vendor side. So what are you thinking about in terms of dealing with them?
So the vendors, it leads to the discussion we were having yesterday. There could be another sort of a shared service with the vendors as well aspect. But if I was to look at this from the view that my recommendation there is to work under the umbrella of a HE, not to have your own entity, the vendor management would fall under the leadership of the HE that is actually doing the leadership. And in fact, conscious of the time that it was quite a 7 minutes, what I should have mentioned is that one of the benefits, in my view, is to have the HE lead rather than its own entity, is because having the shared services under this umbrella, it means that they will benefit from the mission, values, policies, procedures, procurement, all the guidelines and governance bodies as well that are already set up. If you were to actually set it up as a separate entity, you'd have to think of all of these processes, including procurement. So I would follow the route that the leading higher education has from a procurement perspective.
Okay.
How much are you asking, Alma?
All right, so that's a good question. So I had a figure in mind, but I was thinking initially, because the idea is to start small, I want to make this achievable. So rather than actually just put a figure, I'm actually looking for existing resources that the HEs have in place. So it is, in a sense, so up to 10 integration specialists initially. Start small. My idea is that if we focus on 5 separate domains and we assign 2 integration specialists on each domains to identify some common processes, we can start small and then grow. And then the evaluation of growth, it will be based on the evidence. I want to be able to raise a business case or write a business case at the point where I see that there is a real value, rather than go big and then fail.
Alma, I think this is a really interesting idea. I think it's a challenge for the sector at large, but I also wonder a little bit whether it's trying to solve the wrong problem. So if we were looking, rather than how can we build common integration, but more get under the hood of common data standards, we've already got reference models, and trying to encourage the change there as well. Because otherwise, I think we're just chasing the wrong vision, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I think there is a need for what you're proposing now, but I would like to see that evolve into trying to persuade the sector at large to move to a more common data model that would make integration fundamentally easier.
Yeah, thank you.
So I think I need to say where I'm at. So I think you're not being ambitious enough. And for the simple reason, I don't have people that I can give you. I have to be out, I'm afraid.
Okay.
I'm in. I like the idea. I think it needs evolution. But yeah, resourcing might be an issue. But if I was to, on a binary scale, I'm in.
Okay, thank you.
This is a tough one. I'm kind of in, but as you said, you've got to develop that business case. We've got to see where this goes before I think it could scale to something that would work.
Yeah, in fact, just as a response back, I think I should emphasize that is the experience that I'm bringing from the local government that it failed. There was a big ambition for the whole shared digital services for 3 IT departments to merge, and it failed. So I'm flipping that around. So I'm suggesting let's bite the elephant with small bites rather than big bang approach.
And
yeah.
Alma, finally, if you had to choose one dragon to go with, who would that be?
Careful now.
I'll go with the dragon that believed in me first.
Wonderful, thank you.
Good.
Well done.
Well done.
Okay, we are wrapping up now. Finally, it's over to you to open up the app and vote for your favorite idea. So if you go to the EventMobi app, And under polls, I believe investment 1 was Daniel Roberts, AV investment. Investment 2 was our AI-powered chatbot. And investment 3 are integration services. And Gary, if you, wonderful, it's already up.
Nobody wants to know.
Oh, please, not investment 1. Oh, Dan, I think you might have it. Let's just give it 10 more seconds, see if anything changes. No. Daniel Roberts, do you want to come back up on stage? And we can give you a round of applause on your brilliant idea. Thank you, Daniel. Well done.
Well done, Dan.
You won't be getting any money from me. But yeah, I think the general takeaway from this is it was meant to be a bit of fun, but actually they came up with some really, really good and powerful ideas. And that was in a really short space of time. So imagine if what we can all do if we collaborate and think actually what is missing? What could we collaborate on? What could we produce together? And finally, a big thank you to my dragons. Any final words?
I just say congratulations to all our entrepreneurs, some really good ideas. Let's keep this energy going. Let's make this work.
Yeah, really interesting and well thought through. I mean, it just shows you that we know our sector and we understand the challenges, and if we work together and take some of the suggestions that were made here, I think we've got something really cool that we can do.
Yeah, let's just keep talking.
Wonderful. Thank you.